Issue 134. We start out seeing a boring typical argument between an old couple being interrupted when Sonic is thrown through their window by a giant monster. Good thing that didn't injure him, or them. Sonic complains, as he's apparently done before, that he doesn't know the villain attacking him while riding the monster. And he reveals that he was just sent back to the special zone when he attacked him. So what, sent him here? The villain threatens Sonic that a Society Max will try to get a hold of him, and Sonic takes the fight away from the couple to avoid collateral damage. Then Charmy arbitrarily has an idiot bomb moment where he sees the couple in a destroyed house and still thinks he should ask if a dinosaur came by. The Chaotix is told which way the dinosaur went, and Sonic says that he should have insisted that the Chaotix would come to him instead of letting the Omnivore transport him here, complaining about his bad luck in the special zone. But bad things happen to him all the time, regardless of where he is, because villains threaten him. So why would he notice it more somewhere else? Because he just has a bias against this place. Sonic then complains about the Chaotix crew meeting him late, and Vector explains that they are busy looking for a villain named Blockhead Bill, the same one who tried to fight Sonic and just found him now. Vector tells Charmy to cause a distraction and buy some time, and Sonic says he'll just let the Chaotix take care of it. After the dinosaur and Bill humiliate the Chaotix, Sonic taunts the dinosaur from high up above and attacks it. Then Blockhead Bill calls Mighty his son and assumes that he's going to help him finish off Sonic. Odd, he looks nothing like Mighty. Why would they be related? Mighty tells his father that Sonic's not the Crimson Cobra, lampshading that Sonic looks nothing like him as he helps him up. And his father finally notices that Sonic is bluish. I guess he's a little colorblind. It is gutsy of the comic to have Mighty have a father, and to have the father still be around when he was dead in Archie. He says that his brother told him Crimson Cobra was back in town, and Mighty reveals that he doesn't have a brother, that's just the mirror that was bought for his room. Then he complains that the dinosaur is shrinking because the Mandrake root is wearing off. Well, that's more interesting, it makes more sense. Then the dinosaur interestingly starts to talk all sophisticatedly, and complains about the taste of that root. Why didn't he talk when he was being a monster earlier? What about being larger would make him unable to talk? Mighty reveals that the dinosaur himself is Society Max, his father's business partner, and he shakes Sonic's hand saying he's delighted to meet him as Sonic's naturally resentful. When I heard the term Society Max, I pictured a whole group of new bland villains sitting around in a meeting. Society wouldn't make a good name for one guy. Sonic asks Vector to tell him why he got him to the special zone, and sadly the story ends before we can learn why the whole plot even happened in the first place. In the next story, we see Amy and Techno on Snow-Capped Mountain Zone in the summer, because Techno's interested in learning what energy readings are causing her scanners to go off. An avalanche happens, and Amy jumps away from it easily while appreciating the excitement, like Sonic would. Then she warns Techno about a spike trap behind her, and she pulls Techno away from it and shoots at it with her crossbow while it sends icicles at her. A giant tries to attack them, and when it's noted that he's leaving no tracks in the snow like a ghost, Amy says that according to the local legends she's heard, it must be a ghost. Techno arbitrarily doesn't believe in ghosts, even though Sonic should have told her about the ghost in Zandopolis. Did he not think that she would believe him? But Tails and Knuckles would be able to vouch for him. And her scanner goes wild picking up energy. Amy almost slips off a cliff, gets saved by Techno, and then a magical sun-faced circular thing reminding me of the Mayan calendar shows up, and says that they've passed the test of courage and strength while calling them by their names. First off, how many people died trying to complete those tests? Like, there was a spike trap here at one point. This guy's not exactly innocent. The Circle, who's the Ring of Eternity and the spirit of Mobius itself, like Gaia, reveals that the reason he knows this is because he knows everything. So he knew all of Eggman's plans and did nothing to stop them. I mean, I guess he knew that all of the freedom fighters would... Well, I guess he thought he didn't need to help. He explains that Mobius is an important center point between dimensions because it's the main planet we see in the comic, of course. Why wouldn't it be an important center point between dimensions? And he's a doorway to all of the other worlds. At least he said a doorway, so it's not like it's the only prime zone center point. Techno says that this explains why beings from other dimensions get to Mobius so easily. Oh good, like there is an actual explanation for why portals show up all the time. And Amy says that Mobius must be like a magnet to other worlds. I love that they explained this. I always figured that the barriers between zones was weaker here. This is much better of an excuse than the Ultimate Annihilator doing it, or the portal showing up because, oh, Sonic wanted Sonic to travel to those dimensions when it'd be totally pointless. Why did he need to meet Al Caligan? Then the Ring of Eternity says that there's some planets needing their help, so they go in to have some fun. In a long story arc that is probably the most creative and original that Fleetway Sonic ever gets. In the next story, we see Sonic fighting some of Eggman's fanboys, and one of them reveals that he's already launched 2 missiles at Hilltop and Metropolis. How would that help them become the leaders of the world at all? It'd just be random pointless destruction. They're not Funitivists, where they're actively sadistic and want to destroy everything. I mean, I guess their idea is they want to intimidate people with their power and force them to give up authority to them, but you do that by bluffing to destroy. You don't have to actually do it. That's what nukes are for. He says that even Sonic can't be at more than one place at once, and Sonic lampshades how he's underestimating his super speed. He creates a mini tornado to force a missile into space, and for the next missile aimed at a city, it's too late for him to do the same thing, so he cocoons the blast in a speed cocoon of wind that doesn't let the explosion escape. Then it turns out that from his perspective he froze time. Well, that came out complete nowhere. And when he grabs a newspaper, it completely shreds it just from contact. Well, that is actually really interesting plot idea, so it's worth it, I guess. Sonic then sees a large digital clock, which is more futuristic and realistic than just having a boring other normal clock. And he realizes that it moved by a second, so time is still passing, but slowly. He realizes that it's him who changed because he pushed his speed beyond its limit, and he's moving so fast that everything else seems to be at a standstill. Isn't this how him moving at super speed would work anyways? And how does he count as moving at super speed when he's just standing still? Later, Tails asks Sonic why he's so tired, and he says that he needed to wind down his energy by reading the most boring webpage he could find on his outdated computer. He bored himself out of his problem with the Train Spotters webpage. The story ends with Tails saying he made a speedy recovery without knowing what he recovered from, and Sonic calls him Buddy, saying he doesn't know the half bit. In the next story, oh, it's just a worthless reprint, never mind. That's good for my hands. The first story was about Nigel Kitching, and it was about Sonic being threatened by a mighty senile father who looks nothing like an armadillo because he mistook him for a villain, and the story ends before we can learn why Vector had brought him to the Special Zone. It had a lot of interesting twists. The main villain was just a confused old man, and the dinosaur was just a sentient, sophisticated lizard who was grown magically with a root. Which makes more sense since if there were actually sufficiently tall dinosaurs still around, I'd have to question how they haven't made a lot of species extinct from the large amount of food they need to survive, and why they'd be surviving with the oxygen levels of the world being at the normal human level. The last 2 stories are about Lou Stringer. The second story is about Amy and Techno going to Snowcap Mountain, which is a breath away from Icecap Mountain, because of a huge energy source and passing tests of strength and courage, which causes the spirit of Mobius, like Gaia, the Ring of Eternity, which is much better than Chip, by the way, especially in terms of design. The Not Like Gaia asks them to help other planets. And the third story is about Sonic stopping some missiles from the Eggman fanboys from destroying places with his speed, and accidentally somehow making time from his perspective move way slower. Then he figures out he can reverse it by getting bored to get his energy level lower. But what's weird about the story is why this happened in the first place and not happen earlier with all his super speed. This is the second time that a crazy time shenanigan made no sense. And at least with Tails, it could have been explained as he's a kitsune. He created a cocoon of super speed to stop an explosion before, and it didn't almost stop time. And wasn't he supersonic when that happened? And shouldn't this always be how it is for Sonic when he's running? How else would he react in time when running at high speed if the world isn't moving slower from his perspective? Super speedy reflexes would have been explained by that better. And the story doesn't end with Tails bonding with him over how he had a weird experience with time too. He just acts like he knows what Sonic recovered from.